Well, kind of a strange day. The travel that's come to get Delos, and we're not ready to rock and roll. First time in 3 years, we're gonna be separated. They're about to go in the water. I'm happy for them, South Pacific bound. But yeah, it's gonna be a change for us. We're not all together. We just got our rudder on, and they are totally ready to rock and roll.
It's hard to say goodbye to our longtime friends, especially as they set off on an adventure we'd like to be joining them on ourselves. But due to a lengthy and much-needed refit of Calico skies, combined with my recent DCIS diagnosis, which will require surgery and time spent in Arizona, we have to settle for yard life here in Penasco, Mexico a bit longer. The good news is that our new rudder was lifted for the last time and is officially installed now.
Cables, but it is up for the last time, so, and there's absolutely no play anymore.
Bill had to reinstall the steering quadrant, which required removing the old damaged steering cable and replacing the rudder stuffing box packing.
Okay, now let's start the process of bringing this back down.
Plus, our wind generator has also been reinstalled, ticking off one of the few remaining boxes left on our new arch build.
It's alive! Spinning. Wind finally got up enough. So it's day 2 of trying to seal the wood core on this. The epoxy thick enough, and you can see we have a gap. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking a Scotch-Brite pad and a little bit of soap to get rid of the blush that the epoxy leaves. So we have a clean surface. And I'm gonna go super thick on the epoxy this time. And so in hopes it doesn't come out again. A little bit of acetone too. I feel like I'm getting stuff in there. So if this sits overnight, we'll run a hole saw through it, and that will make the hole true again.
So what are you doing now?
I'm just gonna mix just a little bit of epoxy, and we're gonna really thicken it this time because it did run out after a while. I might even let it set a little bit before we put it in there. This is really just get a good bonding surface for the transducer, and also protect our wooden core in the hull, because that is a boat destroyer if there's a problem with that. We'll rot the whole hull out from the inside. 1, 2, 3. Start the mix.
How long you gotta mix it for?
Probably about a minute. And then we're gonna add lots and lots of thickener. Gonna make it worse than peanut butter. That didn't work last time. Actually, a lot of thickener.
So what is that stuff?
Colloidal silica, and it's basically a thickening agent for the epoxy. Just changes the consistency. This is not thick enough yet, though. I'm gonna have to get some more of it. This is our second time doing it. We made it really thick this time, just so it will stay in place. Alright, so today we're working on a damage to our transom that was caused by the dinghy davits loading and flexing the hull. So this was the I-beam that was supporting the transom. It's definitely pretty bent. You can see I didn't get the paint up well enough. I think that's why when the davit broke, it cracked this off. So it's time to come up with another solution to how to fix that now that we don't have weight on it. Step 1 is going to be clean up the area to lay some fiberglass. I'm going to go in there and grind and get all the old paint off so we can put a few layers of 1708 glass just to reinforce the area. If I go in here, I can show you how much flex there is. Okay, so This is where the old backing plate was for our thingy davits, and you can see I can flex the area there. It's just been weakened from continuous loading and unloading. Here is better, so I'm just gonna lay some. I'm gonna grind away the paint and lay some fiberglass here and here just to further reinforce this. Now that we're not using it for load bearing. First, I'm gonna chop this away, because chop this out away because it's gonna be no way of laying on glass. Then I'm gonna grind this area here. I'm gonna go vacuum up the dust mess I made. Nice little layer of dust. Bring back some memories. Got my couple layers of glass here. I'm gonna see if this fits inside the hole now. All right, so we are making some epoxy now. Demetrius is going ahead and using our 2-to-1. We're gonna do 6 pumps, and we are gonna thicken this batch in order to get it on the hull and let that start setting. We're just doing this so that we can get rid of any of the bumps that are there, and we'll have a neat surface for this to stick to. Then we're gonna wet these out, and then we're just gonna stick them to the wall. Not too hard. Mobile workstation today. Gonna go prep the hull with some acetone before we do anything.
What kind of consistency you looking for?
Probably like a peanut butter again. Just to fill in any holes that are uneven on the hull, so we get a good bond. Doesn't have to be as crazy as when we were doing the Thru-Hull, because that was upside down. Pretty thick. I guess it's like peanut butter again. I'm gonna go ahead and just rub this on the wall now. Woohoo! Yeah. Okay, going in.
Here's Bill applying the thickened epoxy.
Yes, I'm gonna get a smear on this whole thing. Oh yeah. Nay.
What we got now is the epoxy, 2 layers of glass. The larger one goes on first, the smaller one goes on second. That's a rougher side, that's a shiny, clean side. The rougher side goes against the hull.
That's right. That is correct.
One more time climbing in there?
Yeah, I guess when we get them wetted out, you'll have to hand to me. So Demetrius is wetting it out for me. I'm gonna get my hands dirty, so he's gonna hopefully stay a little cleaner. How much of this have we done, Demetrius? 71 blisters. How many times we hit the wet out glass?
71 blisters times 2 or 3, depending on how many layers of glass.
Yeah, we've done a lot of fiberglass work the last few months together.
All right, coming out of the hole.
Yeah. I think it came out pretty good. It's always a whirlwind when we do that, but it's gonna be super strong now, so I'm glad about that. Somehow I neglected to turn on the GoPro when I was doing all the fiberglassing. It's always a whirlwind. You're sort of messy and full of epoxy and stuff, but here we go. Oh, back in the hole. So that's 2 layers. Wet it out. So we sort of thickened, and then we laid 2 layers of 1708 biaxial right on top. And I went to the corner here, all the way to like that built up part over there. So it's just gonna add stiffness to our hull and hopefully get rid of that sort of hollow void space. I think having the davits in those 4 holes that you see, the mounts, I think that probably flexed thousands of times at sea. So I just want to make sure I build it back up so the hull maintains this like structural integrity. Came out pretty clean. Yeah, there's no more flex in there. See, I can't move it anymore. Oh yeah. Yeah, so that worked out really well. Yeah, so from the outside, it's much stiffer now. Shaking a whole boat. So I did want to close the loop. We did actually wind up putting more supports in the hull, but there's a huge difference between the mounting here, which I just showed you behind the glasses. It's a largely very unsupported area that's very thinly laid up. You can see the light coming through it, to here, which is like really solid next to where the hull turns. So the mounting point, having them high and outboard, is way better than they were here. Much stronger there. There's absolutely no flex here if I pull that down. So that's a win. On this last trip back from Arizona, I brought with me a Jackery, which I'm pretty stoked about. This is the Jackery 1000, and it's basically a built-in lithium power pack with an inverter function. It can power up to 1000 watts. This device is able to be charged by built-in 80-watt solar panels, or you could plug it into a DC cigarette lighter down in a boat, or AC side, like an AC plug. And now it's charging off solar, pulling 100 watts. The cool thing about these 80-watt panels is that they're able to generate electricity from both sides, similar to bifacial panels. There's an extra white glass layer that is used on the backside to help boost the power. Also, the carrying bag has a reflective lining that is specifically designed to reflect extra solar energy. These panels are IP68 waterproof and dustproof, making them perfect robust panels to keep on board in the event of an emergency. As you guys know, we're a huge proponent of solar energy. We have just about as many solar panels as you could fit on a 36-foot sailboat. So very much a proponent of green energy. So for our use, we envision using this Jackery as a backup power supply in the event of power failure. It could be anything from our inverter going down to battery failure to lightning strike. And having the Jackery on board of self-contained power means we could charge our Iridium Go's or cell phones for navigation in an emergency. Also, in the event of a dismasting, we could use the power pack to power an angle grinder to get through our rod rigging, which is not really possible because of hydraulic cable cutters. So I'm going to perform a little test and see if the Jackery can perform an angle grinder and cut through some spare rigging that our buddies have. This will be a good test. Got my safety sunglasses on. Gonna wear gloves, don't worry. Grinder is plugged into the Jackery. That's pulling 320 watts out, 1.2 hours. We're pretty careful of redundancy in our battery system, and the Jackery will slot in really nicely with that. We actually keep a spare battle-born battery as a spare in event of failure of a lightning strike, and actually keep a whole spare inverter. But having the 1000-watt pure sine inverter that is just available and not requiring me to go mess around with battery cables offshore makes it a really nice piece of our backup inventory. So there are a number of useful ports on this Jackery. You have the USB-A's, C's, 110 outlets, as well as the cigarette lighter for DC appliances. The charging ports for the alternative ways of charge, meaning AC and DC, so basically off our ship system, is on the back here. These are the DC input, so a cigarette lighter plug going in here, and then plug into the cigarette lighter over here, or the 110 goes in here. The 110, this draws about 800 watts of power. This is only doing about 60, so the AC side is a much faster way to do it. Well, that is how we're going to use our Jackery on our boat. How would you use a Jackery of your own? So I am now going to check out the Thru-Hull that I've been trying to seal the wood core with. It looks pretty good now, so it's a 2-inch hole saw, so I'm gonna go up top and start drilling my way through this and see if I have a good seal. It looks pretty solid all around to me. I'm gonna drill from the outside, from the inside going out, so I'll take you upstairs with me. Two-inch hole saw fits in here. Ooh. Okay. Ow. Pretty good. There's a little bit of a hole right here, so I might have to mix up just a little more epoxy. It's Sunday, so I'm not gonna be here a long day, but just checking on a couple things, cleaning up some stuff. Checking on the transducer epoxy that I laid in yesterday. So hopefully it's better filled in this glob. Hopefully I don't rip it out right there. So this time, rather than running the hole saw through, I'm afraid it's gonna rip that nub off. I'm gonna take my Dremel and just like sand it down first and then run a hole saw, because I really don't feel like epoxying. This is like the 4th round of epoxy trying to seal the core here. So I'm gonna take it a little more slower, use a Dremel, get it smooth, and then run the hole saw through, just to have the hole perfectly cleaned up. All right, I feel like that should be better for the hole saw. I'm gonna go upstairs and deal with that now. 2-inch hole saw. And hopefully, I got it this time. Pretty good. Okay, so the hole is perfectly sealed up now. That should be ready for 5200. That finally works. It only took me like 4 tries. But at least now I'm confident the hull is safe from water entering the core. That's a very important step. And yeah, probably sand some of this excess off right now, get rid of the tape. We have tabs done for 2 of the solar panels. See these welded pieces here. Just going ahead and drilling them out. Super sketchy though. I don't like drilling near the solar panels. I'm going to put the land coat on the screws because the stainless and aluminum frames. Each solar panel will be secured to the arch in 4 places using a total of 8 screws. It's nerve-wracking to drill through the solar panel frame towards the back glass on the panel. To avoid an accident, I'll be protecting the backside of the solar panel with the G10 stainless steel contraption I made up. While a total of 16 holes may not sound like a lot, it will take me the better part of a day to get this complete. So these 2 panels are fully mounted. The back one is not. But these have all their screws in. It's pretty sturdy, way sturdier than we had before. The structure is pretty sturdy, and so are the mounts. So I'm just trying to get the last panel lined up here, just to make sure all the cells kind of look okay, like dead center of the other 2 that are secured, and mount all their tabs. Gary just stopped by. We were kind of laughing about this one. This tab has 2 screws, but how in the earth am I ever gonna get to this one? Which the answer is I'm not when Jen's in the way. Oh well. 7 will have to do it. That's more than we had on our old panels. I think I'm pretty happy with the placement here. it's so hard to figure out what's straight because everything's a little bit off. Like the welds bend things a little here, the mounts are in a certain different place. Like nothing's straight because it's all custom built. So nothing's straight on a boat to begin with. But I think I'm pretty happy. So I'm gonna start just drilling it in now. Get this last panel secured. Super nervous about putting a hole in the panels. So when I'm drilling, so here's my tool. That G10, the piece of stainless in the middle, another G10. My theory is that the stainless might be slippery and I might miss if it slips out. And the G10 should grab, but it won't get through the metal and the G10. Don't break the solar panels. Well, uno más hole on this arch before all the solar panels are secured. That's pretty cool. Got my handy dandy backup, and it's just this one last hole here. Wish me luck, then it is complete, at least for securing it. So this panel here is gonna be on its own, the back panel, and then those two are gonna be tied into series. I was talking to Sun Powered Yachts, and there said Google YouTube DC arc welding. It's insane what 80 volts at this power level could put out. It basically arcs across and creates like a welding flame. Maybe we'll include a little footage here just from YouTube. It's pretty crazy though. So when I am dealing with the ends down below, like the positive and negative ends into the charge controller, you have to be super careful not to like start a fire. So yeah, so I'll be careful when I'm wiring it, but at least for now they'll be physically secure, and this thing is like super robust. This thing is not at all like our old structure was, so I'm super pumped. It looks really good, and now it's time for like the fun part, like putting lights, putting canvas, so get some of the mechanical stuff done. So this is really cool.